I know we live in a world right now that is trying desperately to dig up any old long lost forgotten IP to try and rinse the last bit of money out of it. But if there was one franchise that has been horrifically neglected and mistreated over the last couple of decades, it is Silent Hill. And with the success of 2's remake and talks of a remake of 1 in the works, things have really been on the up and up for that town that we all see in our restless dreams. In enters Silent Hill F, a fresh new take on the series that takes the franchise away from sad dads wandering around in a foggy American town to a period piece J-horror. Now, I was sold on those first trailers the second they dropped and could not wait to get my hands on this. And with me just recently replaying the first for my retrospective series, link below, please do go and watch that after this, my expectations were pretty damn high. So this isn't going to be a full breakdown of the game, nor will it be a complete deep dive into my thoughts and feelings. I did a video not too long ago on the prologue of Expedition 33 and what made it so damn perfect in my opinion. Link below, you know what to do after this, sorry for all the shameless plugs. And I really enjoyed giving a very early impressions video on what I really liked about that, and what I could already see being potentially set up, so I decided to bring that back for F. Now, as a heads up, no, I will not be covering the full game, only the prologue, but that's not to say that there won't be spoilers for early story beats, scenes, gameplay, and interactions. So, if you want to be completely spoiler free, thank you for clicking, please do come back once you've played, or just check out my other videos. Now, let's enter Silent Hill F. Firstly, I do love the setting here. I know there were some naysayers that didn't like the fact that Silent Hill wasn't happening in, well, Silent Hill, and I can understand that, but something about this phenomenon being able to happen to anyone, at any time, in any place, really adds to the horror for me. Sure, I feel like all these hauntings still need to be very personal to the people they are happening to, but landlocking that to a certain town in America just seems very limiting to me. It's Freddy being able to haunt dreams, but only the dreams of a handful of teenagers in Elm Street for some reason. It detracts from the threat somewhat.
Hinako! How dare you speak to your parents like that?
Dear, please calm down.
This Junko knows how to show some respect. Why the hell can't you be more like her? Where do you think you're going? We're not done here, young lady.
Darling, please. You've already made your point.
Then why isn't she listening to me?
So, we already get insight into our main character, Hinako's tumultuous home life, an abusive father and a doting mother who doesn't want to rock the boat, a perfect older sister, and then there's Hinako, trapped in the middle of it all. It's already doing a lot of setup here, more so than any previous entry I'd say, and I think that's down to the fact that whatever is about to happen to us is happening right on our very own doorstep. We didn't see any of James's or Harry's home life, they simply found themselves trapped in Silent Hill, and their character and pasts are slowly established throughout their respective games. But here, we have the benefit of starting at that point. We can already see what kind of character Hinako is to be, with her simply leaving her home during one of her father's drunken tirades. I like how we also get some of her personal perspectives right away as well whilst going through her journal. Here is where we'll be able to view our trusty map, clues to puzzles, and journal entries on characters, locales and monsters we will be facing. And just look here how Hinako speaks about her and her family, starting with herself, and it can be very conflicting here. She's down on herself from the very first sentence, but also recognises some of her accomplishments when it comes to her athleticism. She can also recognise some of her shortcomings, as she herself admits that she can be quite stubborn and pig-headed sometimes, traits that she probably picks up from her father. She also doesn't like her life being decided for her, even if it is the right decision. Something that with the period and locale of the game set in, I'm sure will be further explored as we play more. I do find it interesting that the game chooses not to show her sister's face. Now, the journal makes sense. It is personal to Hinako, and as you can read, she may love her sister very much, but there's also a lot of hurt there by the fact that her sister chooses to marry and leave her. She feels very abandoned by Junko. The interesting part though, is that they choose not to show her face during her scene with Hinako at the beginning. This may just be for some revelation later on, but it's something to note, I think. Now, we obviously don't know everything about our new lead, and the biggest intrigue that I did have with her character was this very early scene we have with the first resident that we find.
You traitor!
Sakuko.
Where are you off to? Don't usually see you around here.
A truck was blocking the road.
Chizuru, yeah?
I just want to talk to someone.
I'll be there in a bit, okay?
See you.
You traitor.
I had so many questions with this traitor line. Is this like a passive aggressive thing? Is it a nickname or an inside joke we aren't aware of yet? Or is it a martyr thing, where Hinako has done something so traitorous that even when insulted to her face, just accepts the vitriol as some sort of punishment? I was really intrigued to find out. I also really liked that second delivery of traitor, as it calls into doubt for me personally if it was even said at all. I know it probably was, but the quick look up that Hinako has to see her friend already inside getting ready to leave and meet us casts that small amount of doubt for me that Silent Hill does so well. So let's talk environment. As I already said, I do love this location. Taking the setting of Silent Hill and dropping it on the doorstep of a poor unsuspecting person is such a fantastic idea to me, and I think they still managed to capture some of the same magic that town had back in 1 and 2. This small, isolated fishing town couldn't be a more fitting location for our new Silent Hill to take place in, and the game already does a great job of slowly building up that eeriness with this town. To us, we are already expecting something horrific to start happening, so shots like these can already stir up a little bit of dread and unease within us. But to Hinako, this is her home. There's nothing creepy or unsettling here, nothing unusual. Sure, she does have a quick comment on how odd it is that no one seems to be around, but nothing to set off alarm bells as of yet, until we find this truck.
Excuse me? Is anyone there? Better find another way.
I feel like this moment is where the character and player start to align. We both should start feeling like we need to start watching our backs. Both should start feeling like something odd is up, and I really do like that. Further on, we run into another school friend, Shu.
Hey, partner.
Shoo. Say something.
What about you? Nothing you want to say?
Well, if you don't have anything, neither do I.
Well, that's my Hinako. It's not like you to just let stuff happen, though. But whatever you end up choosing, you know I'll always be there for you.
Shoo. Shoo, thanks for waiting. And Hinako, too. Rinko, what were you guys talking about? Nothing, really.
Okay, awkwardness aside, I think this does a fine job into giving us a lot of insight into these relationships in such a very little amount of time. Clearly with this back and forth between Shu and Hinako, something has come between them. A small argument maybe, or a falling out, or maybe romantic feelings for one another, or feelings for someone else, and that person getting between the two. Who knows? But it does show here. And Rinko. I could already tell from the first look and line that this girl is the third wheel between our two love interests here. And as for our final girl, Sakako, other than calling us traitor, but also being really eager to be there for us, I don't have that much to say about her, because this soon happens.
Hinako?
Sorry. What?
You trick.
Yep, we are getting right into the thick of it now. The fog is back, everybody, and now more of a threat than ever. I have to say though, that this Crash Bandicoot style of escape here just did not work for me, and it all comes down to the speed. Hinako looks more like she is taking a gentle stroll through a foggy moor than running for her life, and to watch this poor monster have to rubber band up to us, only then to stay behind us at all times, really did not give the illusion of a chase that I feel like I should be getting here. Luckily, we ditched this crash level and start darting between these dark and twisting labyrinths of alleyways, which makes for a much more effective chase sequence in my opinion. We escape the monster and find ourselves separated from our friends, only to soon run into this. And my god, what an horrific and disturbing design. I love this so much. I also love how we have nothing to defend ourselves with here, forcing us to flee. But I do put a small pin in this, as it does come with a few caveats that I will come to shortly. I love the choice, and it feels realistic to flee here rather than to fight. And I think it really adds to the tension and the horror. We soon come up to a fantastic part in my opinion. This house we will try to cut through. Firstly, we check the back door, only to find it locked and in needing of a key. So, let's go exploring. Upstairs, we find a trail of blood leading up to this. Key found. Fantastic. And just in time as well, as the next room down the hall has now opened, revealing one of those skin mannequin things inside. So we have to flee back downstairs to the back door, only to see that we have the wrong key. This is the stuff that I find that Silent Hill does best. These small tricks that they play on the player to really build up the scares. I really love this moment. So for those who saw more trailers and gameplay on F, or those who have just seen the general buzz around this game and its discussions, I'm sure you are all waiting for me to get to a certain topic. And yes, as we find our path blocked off by another one of those creatures, we finally arm ourselves and I can start talking about the combat. So I will have a little bit more to say about this later on, but as for first impressions, I wasn't too bothered by the combat right away. All Silent Hills have had combat. You always have had a way to arm yourself. It is a survival horror after all. The warning flags for me though came up shortly after we beat our first enemy and run not 8 feet into our next, where we get this tutorial pop up. Counterattacks in a survival horror. Counterattacks in Silent Hill. this decision just baffles me, because these small additions, the dodge, the counter, the focus bar, they turn the combat from arming oneself to fight back against the horror and turn it into Dark Souls. And I'm sorry, I know we all get sick of referring to any difficulty in video games or any combat with so much as a dodge roll in it as Dark Souls light, but I really feel like that is what they were trying to go for here. The tutorial is telling me to study my enemy and its attack patterns for openings and counters, rather than arming me with very little supplies to try and survive this horror experience. This horrific looking enemy isn't scary anymore. It's a bloodborne creature I need to study and farm. Tack onto that weapon degradation and stamina so low that even Sebastian from Evil Within is mocking us, and it all adds up to a very unfun combat experience for me, and probably my biggest complaint when it comes to this game. I also feel like, for such a main game mechanic, Silent Hill really goes out of its way to make you not want to fight, and not in a good way, but I'll get onto that shortly. For now, let's fight a few more creatures and come full circle back to where the horror first started, where the fog monster first attacked. So here is where we see what I assume to be F's version of the nightmare world, and first impressions to me is this. This feels very disjointed. I know other than the combat, I've been pretty high praise so far for F and its first impressions, but the more I sit with it, the more a piece just feels like it is missing. And it's things like this new nightmare world that seals that a little bit for me. The blending of nightmare and reality is what Silent Hill did so well. Taking environments we are already familiar with and twisting them into these nightmare worlds. But with the fog monster and the sudden flower infestation back in our home, it feels like the nightmare has already arrived, and with very little build up to it. And as for this place, sure it's creepy, and I do like it, but it just feels like a completely different place. This feels like it has no connection to back home. It feels like two completely different things happening simultaneously. And look, this is a first impression. I am obviously expecting this area to connect to the main narrative in some way. I'm not an idiot, but for what I've come to expect from Silent Hill, this just seems to be missing the mark. And I feel like this might be the uphill battle that the game is going to face, as some things here just do not feel like they belong in a Silent Hill game. It also comes with what I think really sealed my dislike for the combat. You see, combat here works a little bit differently. We have zero weapon deterioration. Perfect, right? Well, no, because the trade-off to that is the fact that the monsters that you do beat don't stay down for very long. They soon respawn, forcing you to fight them over and over and over again, all the while burning through all your health supplies due to all the hits you will probably take at this point, and also whilst you are trying to figure out the puzzles in the area. The puzzle here asks you to find certain symbols, find a combination to a locked shrine. A nice and early puzzle that is fun to figure out when you're not being constantly harassed by a mummified demogorgon. Again, I just have to question why a game that so heavily leans in and focuses on combat would make the combat be as needlessly frustrating as possible. In the real world, we are not incentivized to fight due to our weapons breaking if you so much as mean mug them. And here, we have immortal monsters that will constantly bother you whilst you are trying to have fun and figure out the puzzles. It feels like the developers hated the idea of combat in this game, but was forced to put it in there, so did everything they could to make the player really despise it as much as they did. Inside the now unlocked altar, we find a key we need and start this really frustrating moment in which we have to run for our lives back to a statue that needs this key inserting. All the while our sanity is draining and we are being hounded by these faceless dogs. And the first thing that makes this so annoying is just how quicker these dogs are than you. I mean, look here, it feels like they just effortlessly caught up to me and clawed out 2 chunks of back fat. What makes this worse is that every so often, Hinako would just stop running, clutching her head from the apparent noise that this sanity draining red fog is making, leading to more instances where these super fast dogs can now catch up to you more easily, or just hit you while you're completely defenseless with a migraine. And it just makes it all seem really, really unfair for the player. And it just saps all tension out of the scene for me. I'm more frustrated running around this area than I am on edge. So those are my thoughts on Silent Hill F's prologue. An intriguing start to this fresh take on the franchise with a lot of potential, but one that is also weighed down with a few frustrating decisions and a heavy reliance on a very bad and out of place combat system in my opinion. But let me know what you think below. I always love to talk more about the games that I cover. And if you want longer, more in-depth reviews, check out the playlist below for my series on retro titles. Maybe you'll like to start with my revisit to Silent Hill 1. Thank you all for watching and making it this far. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help with this channel, and do expect to see a few more videos like this. I have played a few new releases lately, and I've been really excited to make some more first impression videos about them. So I think I'll start to make this a more semi-permanent thing for the channel. Please don't expect them all the time though. I'm not remortgaging my house just so I can keep up with every new release day one. But every so often, I would love to drop a smaller video like this. So until next time, take care.